Hello, friends. How are you today? Well, I'm back. I went through loads of drama personally, but it's all good. And I'll tell you more about that when I do some other videos, because I want to focus in on this amazing energy on the chart and show you what I think is going on. And you're not going to see this anywhere else. So let's get into this. Now, if this is the first time you're here, please subscribe if this content resonates with you. I also have a Substack, and if you could like the video, that would be awesome. I publish on my Substack, more detailed pictures and stuff like that of charts and other things. And just a refresher, the Schumann resonance is it's energy in the air. There are 4 resonances. The resonances are like harmonics in music. That's a way that I like to think about it. I like to explain things so that the everyday person can understand them. I don't think physics needs to be complicated. I mean, for goodness sakes. We do physics every day. When we get up, move, walk around, we literally live it. And why not understand it? Why not understand how the energy of things work? Because from a human perspective, maybe that can help us live our life in a better way, a more enhanced way. Maybe we can take greater control over what's going on in our body's energy and our human energy field. So I see the world like energy, like in the Matrix when they were looking at the computer and there's all these like green little lines and all this stuff. That's a little bit how I think of the world. I see everything as energy flows, and then it's hardened in different places into physical form. And we think it's hardened, but it's actually still moving. But back to the Schumann. The Schumann is in a hertz range of 0 to 40 hertz. There are 4 Schumann resonances in this hertz range. There's at least a couple more that are in higher hertz range, but this is what the chart that I look at focuses on. I use this chart because it is consistent, because it is easy to read. It has a significant amount of detail in terms of giving the data that creates the chart, and all of this I feel helps us to better understand. So I also think that while it's true that the Schumann is different in different parts of the globe, I feel that this is a map of human consciousness. And since so many people who are awake and aware focus on this map, I think that focus makes it relevant, kind of like how in quantum physics, the observer affects the experiment. Exactly like that, okay? Because when you are looking at quantum energy, you're looking at a state of wholeness, okay? And when we look at the energy on the chart here from 0 to 40 hertz, we're actually looking at energy in a state of wholeness, different than how we exist in a way as human beings, where we exist in an energy of duality. Now, this is a subtle difference, and one day I will explain that in more detail, but today we want to focus on the energy waves. So let's get into this. All right, so this was amazing. So this green line here is about 13, 14 hertz, okay? And so this explosion of white energy on the chart, first it came here. You see how the nature of the image, right, how it looks is so different to the left here in this box versus this incredible energy that goes, it looks like pretty well past 40 hertz here, okay? So what it is it's like this energy just suddenly came in. There's almost like a hard line here. And so what I did was I created an estimated time for that line, and I did an astrology chart for the moment the energy initiated, and I'm going to show you that. So the nature of the energy as it started to kind of express on the chart is kind of behind the energy that goes all the way to 40 hertz is almost like there's 2 readings on the chart. It shows in the image, they're combined. You can't separate them. And what I'm saying is, this is my read on it, okay? But what I'm saying is that there's already something going on, and then maybe in the surface population, and then we get this astrological effect essentially in the sky. And in my view, it activates this. Now, how could that be the case? I thought astrology was just a bunch of nonsense. Silly nonsense. Astrology is about the movement of the planets, in my view, along the grid lines, the energetic electromagnetic grid lines that make up the solar system that surround the sun, or however it moves around the sun. When, in my view, when planets aspect each other, essentially what happens is you get an effect on the electromagnetics of the solar system, which, we are a part of. Now, here's the other thing. The astrological effect that happened here involved 3 inner planets, okay? 3, not just one. And so I've been experimenting with this for some time, and you don't always have an effect when there's an aspect of inner planets, but sometimes you do. It's really fascinating. But now we have 3, and not only do we have 3 inner planets, we actually have, we have 4 because Saturn's involved as well. So 4 inner planets, excuse me. Saturn is considered an inner planet. I always wonder, because it's just so far out there, but it is the border. As my girlfriend Andrea, who taught me astrology, we were talking about this the other day. Anyway, and here's the other interesting thing. Saturn is at what's called a key degree. It's at 29 Aquarius. And so right now it's expressing the full energy of the age of Aquarius. I feel so ridiculous saying that because I remember thinking it was ridiculous when I was younger. And when I was younger, do you remember, was it like that musical Hair, Age of Aquarius, all that? And I just couldn't take it seriously. But it is a real thing. I've made videos on this, and many, many other people have made even more videos on it. But basically, Pluto is going to move into Aquarius. And so this is a big deal because it's an age. Okay, so there are big, long cycles in astrology. And we've been initiating a cycle, which I talked a lot about. I think I talked a lot about it last spring. I did, yeah. I talked all about it. So if you've been on my channel, you know about it. If you haven't, you can go back and look at my videos from last March and April. There were actually some incredibly cool stuff was going on at that time. All right, so I talked about initiating the age, but Pluto moving in is the last planet that initiates this, and it doesn't fully move in. It kind of goes back and forth over the next couple of years. So Saturn is at 29. Pluto is just literally like 2 weeks away from moving into Aquarius, which is a big deal. It'll be at 0, which is a key degree. Saturn is at the full expression of that degree. It's an inner planet. So you have 4 oppositions to the moon. The other one is an asteroid, Nike, and Nike is the goddess of victory. So although 4 oppositions to the emotional planet of the moon, right? That's the feminine expression. That's the planet that rules Cancer. Cancer, the planet of Cancer that rules Cancer, the moon. Everything is a planet in astrology. Okay, I'm not going to differentiate between the sun and the moon and everything else. But the sun, Saturn, Mercury, and asteroid Nike all opposed the moon as this was coming in. I'm going to show you a picture of that. Basically, you had 4, cosmic bodies opposing the moon at this time. I think this was a humongous big deal because since they're all inner planets, so closer to Earth, obviously, especially Mercury, the sun, and the moon, I think that this is why this was such a big deal. Now, I think it's also such a big deal because we're at the crux of this important historic event. And although for us, it's like, oh God, that's 2 years away before the whole thing completes. Yeah, but, when you think about it in the greater cycles of time, it's really not that much time, okay? Earth has been around for 4.8 billion years. 2 years is basically barely a flicker, okay? So here we go. So that's what's going on here. And why would it show on the Schumann? Here we go. Are you ready? It shows on the Schumann because human beings are electromagnetic beings. The human heart emits the largest electromagnetic field in the body, but all of our organs emit electromagnetic fields. And so we feel this, and so you've got it in the air around us, right? Because it's in the electromagnetic field of the planet, and then it's in our fields. And I'm viewing this as a map of human consciousness because this Hertz range exactly reflects the Hertz range of human beings. Woo! Bing! Pretty cool, huh? Let me tell you what my read of this is. But first, let's look at the astrology chart. Now, I'm going to just tell you stories about this because that's the easiest way to do this. Like I said, it's March 6th in the USA, but it's March 7th on the chart, okay? Because the chart time is 12 hours ahead at the current moment of Eastern Standard Time. Okay, here we go. This chart goes up to about 10 a.m. because it's intraday for where the chart is located. So 10 a.m. on the chart, March 7th, is 10 p.m. March 6th Eastern Time. So on the chart, it's March 7th, but here in the USA, it's still March 6th. So this is what our future holds. You could look at it that way. All right, so here's the moon, okay? Now look at this. The moon is conjunct the asteroid Abundance by like 20 minutes. So that's very, 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 very close. And it's in the sign of Virgo. See these 4 red lines that are all pointing at the moon? Those are the oppositions. Okay, so that's not comfortable. That's not, and then this is a square. Where's the square go to? The square goes to Sedna. That's stressful. Sedna is the wounded child. All right, so what's going on affects us at the level of the inner child. It's intense when that's going on. You can be an adult, but if something if something triggers you that wounds you back to childhood, that's Sedna in the astrology chart. And there she is in Taurus, the sign of the earth at 28:52, almost 29 degrees. Abundance is retrograde, okay? We got to deal with these emotions and the details of whatever we're going to learn, because this is Virgo. She's all about details. And abundance is retrograde, so there needs to be a review here. And the moon's moving forward, but our abundance, our wealth, to receive our reward from the tests and trials that we have been through and are still going through, we got to spend some time and dig into the details to produce the results that we want. Now let's go over here and take a look at what's going on. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Now I look at quite a few asteroids, and that's one of the reasons why there's so many numbers here, but and so many lines. But I don't mind it. I'm used to analyzing data because I did that for my job when I had a corporate work. All right, this is Pisces. All right, and this is the sun in Pisces, and so you see that Mercury here is opposing the moon, applying. And that means that the moon's at 7 degrees and Mercury is less than 7 and it's moving towards 7. So it's pressure. Saturn is also applying to the moon here at 29, almost at 0. It's in such a critical zone here. Okay, it's about to move to 0, which would be the full power and embodiment of Pisces. And Saturn is like off of his rocker a little bit right now. He is in his own sign. Saturn ruled Aquarius before Uranus was discovered. He is in a power position. All right, he is the king of his domain here. And he is the old gods. Like on Earth, we could imagine that the old gods on Earth would be like the Babylonian from Babylonian times or Sumerian times or whatever whatever the heck existed long ago. So that's the kind of energy we're talking about here. And it's opposing the moon, and it's crushing in for a moment here on Mercury. Mercury just conjuncted with him, and Saturn shared his wisdom. Saturn shared his wisdom with Mercury, the messenger of the gods. So it's Mercury's role to take information from each of the planets as he passes, and he's the one that chit-chats about, that shares information, and that helps things secretly flow. Now, Mercury next is going to meet up with the sun. What does this mean? Mercury, the god of communication, is filled up with information about the strength and power of what is to come, what could be our future, in the positive and the negative, in a state of wholeness. And in my view, in the positive, because I just have a positive outlook. Mercury's going to bring this to the sun. But first, the sun is the soul. The sun in Pisces, the spiritual expression of the soul of the sun. This is woo-woo territory. Woo-woo meaning mystical, meaning magical, meaning anything can happen, including striking, stunning insight, including insanity and delusion. Okay, so there are very, very, very big extremes here. Perhaps that's why the moon is so stressed right now. So all of those extremes hit the moon, which is square the inner child, essentially. And I think that's why we saw the expression of energy on the chart. It's right here. And let me tell you what I feel that this means. So the moon in Virgo, emotions over the details we learn. We are going to learn details because Mercury's going to tell us. So tonight, in fact, in the United States, there was some big news tonight. It was shocking. So Saturn at 29 Aquarius, full wisdom of the age. Okay. Sun and Mercury in Pisces, soul level striking truths are communicated. How these truths affect you personally are up to you to determine. Are you willing to put the work in to do the review to change your life?